Okay, welcome viewers. We are back with another episode with Sports Trend. We have Mr. Ranjit Saini, the president of Cricket Canada, is back again with us. Last week he was not feeling well, so we couldn't do this. We couldn't do the episode, and now he's back. So now I hope he's feeling well, Mr. Saini. Welcome back to the program, and I hope you're feeling well.
Thank you, Farooq. And yeah, there's a bit of inflammation still in my left eye, but I recently had cataract surgeries, so still struggling with the recovery. But yes, overall, I'm feeling better.
Okay, so viewers, as promised, we are with this episode. We will be talking about the review of Canadian review of year 2019 for Canadian cricket team, and that's the topic we will be discussing and talking, and we try to get information from Mr. Saini. So we'll very humbly request all our viewers to do your questions only related to review of Canadian cricket team for 2019. Other topics will deal in some other episode, and also just as a courtesy, just refrain from making any personal comments or anything which will not appropriate for our young cricketers and all the inspirational people. So with that, we'll start that. So Mr. Stani, like 2019 was a good year and a bad year, both ways. In a bad, like we were very close to a couple of very major achievements, and but for we could not. It's just a game. So but we will talk about all those. So we'll start with you to, if we can just elaborate on what are the major events we Cricket Canada participated, and after that I will ask you some questions regarding those events.
Well, Farooq, the senior team had obviously two major ICC events, and it had an additional event, which was a qualifying event for the qualifier of T20. So I would say in the beginning, starting in the beginning of the year, we had Sri Lanka tour. We went to South Africa before the qualifier in Namibia, and then we had the Namibia tour for the ODI qualifier, and thereafter we had T20 North American qualifier in Bermuda, and from there on we went to the T20 qualifier in UAE recently, and then we had the development team, visit Cricket West Indies. So those were the tournaments of the senior team. Quite a busy year.
Yeah. So let's start with do all the hard questions for you. Like, so what do you think? Like, what is the most memorable win and the most hurtful lost game for the senior national team for Cricket Canada? And then I know like a lot of our viewers want to know, how do you feel about all these, especially like the very close encounters and the losses.
Well, Farooq, I would say the most memorable win in my time in my tenure as president of Cricket Canada has been, I think that was probably 2010. Cricket Canada team visited Sri Lanka, and we played a match against Ireland.
Mhm.
And Cricket Canada organized one of the first deliveries of cricket by streaming. Well, I think we are the pioneers of streaming cricket. It may well have been the first ODI match that may have been ever streamed live. So Cricket Canada organized that event, and we had a match against Ireland. This is prior to the 2011 World Cup. Cricket kind of won that nail-biting match, and playing against Ireland and playing against USA is always very exciting, and for the players, for us, and we are all very, very uh, emotionally involved in those matches. The stress level goes up, and the desire goes up because US, just because they're our neighbors, and Ireland because that's something we always look forward to beating and competing against. So that was one of the moments of highlights
Isn't
of
that USA Canada thing becoming as a India Pakistan thing?
I hope it does. It's not there yet,
Because I
but
see a lot of emotions and
yeah,
energy during those
yeah.
games.
So on those same lines, the match against USA in the Namibia tour of last year, that's another match. Match against USA in Bermuda, a T20 qualifier where the match that we won. So those are the exciting points, and those wins are always cherished. Um, the loss, I would say, the first qualifier that happened in Namibia in 2018, uh, in which we lost a match to Nepal, where Nepal scored more than 60 runs on the last wicket stand, and had we
Yeah.
taken that wicket early, we would have qualified much earlier as an ODI country, for the world for Division One, and uh, that match was, of course, every loss is a loss, but you asked me my own personal feelings, and
Right.
for many days I sort of didn't come to the office, and I didn't want to pick up the phone, and that loss was huge. I mean, you have one wicket that you need to take, and that is keeping you, will make you an ODI country, and you have 60, more than 60, 64. I don't want to I don't want to mention the exact number, but it was more than 60 runs Nepal scored in their last wicket stand,
Mhm.
and won the match, and that threw us out of qualifying. That's in 2018. And the last year qualified again happened in Namibia, but that was for ODI country, and that first one was to go into Division One, which is now Division Two in ICC, because Division One is now full members, and people, so all that stuff. So yeah, so those two events are you know very memorable in their own ways.
So, how do you describe the current state of the Team Canada performance?
Sorry,
Yeah,
I
no
had
problem.
this
I'll repeat the
fall
question.
off my ears, and if you ask me a question, then sorry, let me adjust
Just
this.
take your time. Take your time.
Yeah, okay. Could you repeat the question if you ask one?
Oh, how do you describe the state of the performance for the team right now? Like it's we went close to a couple of events. We were about to win them, and then we lost them. Then we went like we. It's always you go to a high, and then you stay, you go low, and then you come back. So where is it Cricket Canada right now, or the team actually?
Uh, you see, I mean, we lost some great opportunities by run rate by few decimal points, and so the one in Namibia is a recent one, is one of them. Um, of course, we in a T20I in UAE also. So it leaves you feeling as if you're the same or equal to as others, but somebody edges you by some decimal points. So then everything becomes important. And when you lose with such a close margin, then you question fielding, you question every lost catch, you question, the economy rate of bowlers or all that. So everything comes under scrutiny as to we done that and we done that and so forth. So we are there. We are almost there, but then still we don't make it. And so quality wise and comparativeness wise, I would honestly say that we believe that Canadian cricket or Canadian team is as good as many others, or as it was. But few demographics have changed
Yeah.
recently, and that has created a lot more competition abroad because the change in demographics. For example, ICC used to have a rule that when you move to another country, move to an associate country at least, you had a 7-year rule before you could qualify to represent that country. This is
Right.
now 3 years. That change has put Oman, UAE, Hong Kong, many of these countries where younger, new generation, good playing cricketers from South Asia go to work and on work permits and become qualified to represent those countries. So you have these new entries of many countries where there's actually no cricket being played at grassroots level, and you have this temporary workforce or transient workforce coming from other countries that now plays for those countries. So you have this increased competition because of the change in qualification criteria. Canada has been slow to react to this reality. That we would say yes. A lot of students are coming here as well, and many of them play good cricket, but harnessing that resource and putting them into streamline and into our ranks, we've been slow to. I would say that's one of the things. Now, when you say when we in those terms when we say are we behind or we ahead, no, our cricket is a lot ahead than many other countries. We have good groundwork, we have a lot of infrastructure, not to very great quality, but we do have a level of grassroots cricket uh, that Canadians or born Canadians and people those who are citizens of this country or immigrants play. So at grassroots level, cricket is growing. In terms of competitiveness, the core issue with our performance is consistency. We are not consistent. We're not consistent because the volume of high quality cricket that is played by our national teams or the elite players, that volume is not enough. So, and then that competitiveness is not there. As a result, when our teams go and compete, we lack consistency during the tournament from one end to another end. There comes this few days in the tournament when everybody's high, everybody's energetic, everybody's joyous and gets together, and they go and win an impossible game. You win against a very big challenger, but maintaining that consistency of enthusiasm and performance lacks in these tournaments. So this is not because the players do not perform. I want to be very careful that I don't leave an impression that in any way we are blaming the players. No one is blaming the players. It is, as I've learned throughout my life, and I teach quality assurance to many organizations. Uh, 9 out of 10 times at least, the fault comes back to the management.
Yeah.
You know,
So with that, I'm gonna just ask you very directly, like, what are the effects of not being an ODI status country? Could have things could have been much better in
yes,
or
the most serious loss of not being an European country is that our senior team and the new players that are developing have less opportunities to compete at a higher level. So if you were an ODI country, then you'll be playing, X number of matches through ICC opportunities against other teams that are at your level or better than you or somewhere around you. Not only that, we would then be, could venture into bringing some full member teams and in doing a tournament here in which some full members come and play some matches against us. Or we could send our team to, for example, to West Indies. If when they see foreign teams in West Indies, we could play warm-up matches against them. Uh, no ODI country would be willing to play against Canada now because the match doesn't get counted.
Mhm.
So, along with the resources, good amount of money, close to $1 million, would have come our way, and which we could have a contracted team, a good coach, and so forth. And so, major loss, yes, a
So
loss of
it's
big
now my
opportunity.
question is from the player side. What would be the effect on the players if they were from a country with had ODI status?
If
Would
we
they
had an
as
audience
you said,
status,
like,
we
will be
would.
contracted? It will be like more money, more
Uh,
financial
yeah,
strength.
there would be full-time contracts for many players because the problem then would be because you will have to play X number of matches. Who would give you a job because giving you a month and a half or one full month off every other month because you will be on tour. Teams will be visiting us. We will be visiting other teams. And so there will be an opportunity and there will be a requirement. Otherwise, we will not have a consistent team. So there would be, for at least there will be some part-time contracts and many full-time contracts. So you will have a full team and then you will have a full-time coach.
So
So
let me
yeah,
ask
it's a
let me
major
ask you this.
loss.
Let me ask you this. Like, so what do you think from as a president of Cricket Canada and as a head of the national organization for the cricket in Canada, and as a board perspective, what are the main reasons you think or your board think that we could not qualify? You mentioned few of them earlier. Like, nobody wants to lose by themselves, right? Everybody wants to win and everybody wants to get a higher ranking and good status.
You see,
What went wrong?
this is what I would say is a very loaded question because um, you run into the risk of leaving an impression, whether this group or that player or that coach or as to who is the responsible person. As I said already, the core issue here uh, within the team is the lack of consistency.
Okay.
So lack of consistency comes from habits and muscle memory, and which is then rooted uh, in in your playing and in your training sequences and then opportunities as to how much and how do you prepare to play at that level. If you are not playing a higher level of matches consistently and you're not consistently under pressure, Then all of a sudden we take 15 people around, bring a hi-fi coach, and we say, okay, go win. It's not. It's like it may happen, but that would more of a miracle than a consequence of your training and your ability to perform. Uh, you need to train yourself under those conditions and those pressure conditions. And you have to have a habit of playing under that high stress and then high focus and those conditions in order to be consistent in those tournaments, from one end to another end. So the inconsistency and your ground situations and so forth, like one of the reports, analytical reports have and then I will read directly from the report by the coach. Excuse me, I need to wear my glasses. And he says, the coach says, we did not make to the ODI status mainly because of not being able to or not having bowlers good enough to strike with the new ball, break big partnerships along with catching and fielding. So, obviously, this statement from the coach and then from myself is enough to offend the bowlers in the team. But no, it's not those bowlers' fault. I can do a finger like this, but the fault lies the person the thumb is pointing towards.
Mhm.
That is the management, that the Cricket Canada and our member leagues, and so forth. Now, the risk that you run here is as to why the bowlers are not performing, fast bowlers are not performing. It's not just the fast bowlers that are now performing. We actually have very few fast bowlers. We took a team to West Indies to 50-over tournament. We could not find high quality fast bowlers throughout the country that could make the team. There were a couple who came from the under 19 program and they were not available. So Sana Rahman from BC
Yeah.
was the only fast bowler we could muster, we could put together to go on that tour. The- we do not have infrastructure. We do not have grounds that are that offer invitation uh, to the teams to have fast bowlers do their 10 overs. Those pitches are not conducive, not helpful to the fast bowlers. I mean, if you look at the par score in the highest level of cricket, which is in Canada at this time, Toronto District Cricket League, on the par score is around 200 runs, and these are short boundaries. So they have some bowlers, medium pacers in each team, and they come and only to grind the ball down so that the spinners can take over. The problem is if the fast bowlers are not needed by the club teams or in local cricket because there are no pitches to support those fast bowlers, why would fast bowlers be developed by the system? And if you do not have those opening bowlers being developed by our system because of inadequate infrastructure, then you do not have your openers that play the local cricket exposed to those tough conditions of opening bowlers from the other side, the opposition to them. So you now have inconsistent opening openers that are developing in the system. So it's not it's when you do a root cause analysis, you go five times why. Your bowlers, we lacked bowlers that could penetrate. That was one of the major keys of issues with our teams all throughout these tournaments. The bowlers that could penetrate the opening batsmen of the other side, were not there. People were scoring 300 plus runs against us. The three centuries were scored against us. Uh, so our key opening bowlers went wicketless for first three matches. Wicketless. We could not penetrate into the opening batsmen of the other teams. Now that is not that we say we have somehow substandard bowlers and so forth. Cricket Canada has not been able to provide sufficient level of good infrastructures or good comparative training opportunities for our players. So so the lack of proper training, fitness, and the infrastructure is behind the inconsistency that is in our team at the opening bowlers and opening batsmen.
Yeah. So this is being so also you already gave an answer. It's like, so what is this enough? Is this the only thing you need to become an ODI status country?
Well, we need first of all
Okay,
our
first of all, let me
senior elite
let me
players.
leave. So
Our,
what's our first target?
yeah. So
Our
here's what
first
we need.
target is to get ODI.
Uh, no, we need to have a performing team. Yes, we need to get to the ODI status, but in that sequence, it is not simply going to happen that we have a few group of people and then they find proper players and say, as everybody says, bad selection and so forth. That's not the situation. The problem is that our core problem is with the team is not the players. The core problem with the team is inconsistency, which is coming from lack of exposure to high quality games or high quality comparative games due to lack of infrastructure. The lack of competitive games are as a result of not performing. Who wants to go against and play against a weak team? Yes, Bermuda and Panama and Belize, Argentina, they'll all be very happy to play against Canada because they are gaining experience by playing against us. Is Canada willing to spend money on playing these weaker countries? We have no benefit. So we are wanting to play against better teams to gain more experience. So the crux of the issue here is going to be the resolution is going to come from how do we bring that competition to train our players against so that our mental readiness, the match fitness to play against tougher opposition goes up, and we need to provide that infrastructure so that the grassroots cricket or at least the elite players in the beginning of this cycle is are training on grounds and the conditions are conducive and helpful to play at the highest level.
Yeah.
So those two are key, along with fitness and those are and then ongoing fielding training. Fielding was another issue in this area, but that fielding is rooted in the fitness area. So if we don't play year round, we're not doing fitness year round. That lacks the fielding. That covers the fielding area.
So
So I would say the creating competition uh, so that we are training again to compete under stress and high competitions is going to be the key for the senior team and the national teams to perform better.
so like so what's Cricket Canada plan, right? What you have been done, because I know you already started working on towards the betterment, for to develop excellence and perform better. Like, are you like providing, you say like pitches are not good, so we can't produce fast bowlers, and if we're not pitches good, then openers are not coming properly, right? So what have been done? Are you already taking any steps, or is anything in the plan? Like, How are you going
Well,
to provide excellent
well,
conditions?
you see, the planning part was done long ago.
Okay.
And if you go on Credit Karma website and you click on About Us, and within that area, you'll find a link to Credit Karma bylaws and policies. Within the policies, there is a development policy. The development policy will, and which was, it has a date as to when it was put on there, and when it was actually developed. Um, we all what is needed was planned. Now, planning is one part, executing is another one. Resources to invest until they come, they are put together. You cannot. It's not possible until such time because it's a catch-22 situation, and you revolve in circles around it. What comes first?
Mhm.
And us, we have a small cycle. We have a small summer, so and we only play on weekends. Our players in league matches will play between 10 to 16 or maybe 18 matches. Some at their level, some below, some in other leagues here and there. Is that enough? Our younger players play morning cricket, youth cricket is 20 overs or 25 overs cricket. I mean, these kids should be playing longer version of the game, full time, lot of cricket. Some of them do in the afternoons, but our elite youth training program league matches are only 25 overs at the most, or maybe 20, and 10 matches a season. And we want to go and win World Cups with that. So the root cause is infrastructure, our short season, and the resources required to go and train abroad are very expensive. Each tour costs $120,000 plus one tour, between 120 to 150. It could go as high as 150 depending on where you go and how long is the tour. So how many tours can you do? How much time can you take off work to go in this team? All this creates a possible scenario where you have this person dropping, that person dropping, that person dropping.
Mhm.
Sri Lanka tour, one of our fast bowlers didn't make it. Right? And then this happens all the time. People agree, people commit to tours, then their work doesn't give time off, or something happens, and this is a constant problem with Cricket Canada. So in maze of all these things, you continue to strive, continue to make attempts, to continue. You beaten up, you fall, you stand up again, you do what you need to do in order to put a team together, and the team goes. So resources are very important to have a sorry to have a full-time team, a contracted team. Once you have a contracted team, you also need a full-time coach. Once you have a coach, you need facilities to train in those odd hours, and then you need tours, and then you need to host teams, bring something. By the time all this is done, you're looking for between 1.8 to $2.4 million a year to support a full-time team, paying them the least amount of that you can barely make a living. If you had 16 players, which you would go with 14 plus two, at least two waiting, 40, $50,000 a year, the 800,000 right there in salaries plus benefits. You're reaching close to $1 million. Then the travel costs, hotel costs, the coach and the balls and the indoors and the outdoors, the minimum budget you need to support a team, full-time contracted team, is anything between 1.8 to $2 million. And then you have the development team, you have the under 19s, and so forth. And Cricket Canada's budget, annual budget for years, has been around $1 million. This now recently we have doubled the income. So what? So people in within Cricket Canada, I would say like myself and few others, a dedicated group has to continually strive to create more resources. On the other side, then we also need to do the best we can with what we have.
Okay. So with that, I'm getting lots of question which I'm going to put in on the screen. Is we talked about mainly we talk about senior team, right? But there is other cricket also, and Canada is a 50-50. So the women that are, and they're getting a lot of question. The favorite topic, women cricket. So what have done for, like, is women cricket has done? I think they made a tour to West Indies. That's what I remember.
Yes,
Um,
they did.
so that, and then there's like some questions. So we'll for Sama and all those people, we'll take in question a little bit later. Let me just get something from Mr. Because I remember for a cricket tournament that was in 2018, there was a Canada-wide cricket tournament on King City. Was nothing
Yes.
on 2019. So do you want to elaborate on women cricket? And then I'll because these are all related to today's topic. So I'm going to ask those questions later on.
First of all, I think in one of my previous conversations with you, I promised you that Cricket Canada was to open up a discussion and develop a detailed a reevaluate its priorities and reassess as to how it is going to go about women cricket.
Mhm.
So I'm happy to tell you that a proposal was sent to the board by myself and in consultation with the board member in charge. That review input from the board is now complete.
Okay.
In the coming week, this proposal will next go to the members and their input will be taken.
Okay.
Once we have received, I'm probably going to allot 2 weeks for comments from the members.
Okay.
Once a is a broad outline of the program has been developed, I then intend to put it on, invite public comments from different enthusiasts, supporters, and people, those who, general public, those who want to participate or want to help promote women cricket. I hope to see that by end of February, a broad, peripheral sort of guideline as to how the cricket is going to develop, women cricket is going to be looked after this in this country, within Cricket Canada, will take shape. The problem with the women cricket, they're very small in numbers. This is a huge country. I agreed that not many people are overly enthusiastic, to give up their grounds and give up their facilities to a program that is not properly organized. In 2018, I took the lead and I had created a women's committee with a women chair of the committee, and they organized their own events and it went well.
Yeah.
It went well in 2018. I handed it over to the other board members, and then there are other issues within the women groups that they have a lot of difficulties. Many of them have difficulties playing with each other. And because women groups have to go from this league to that league, to from this person to that person to that person to take the ground space
Mhm.
to play their games. And Cricket Canada does not have a ground of its own and does not have direct control of the grounds, and grounds the municipalities give to the leagues and so forth. It's very hard. It takes a lot of time and effort and persuasion to to create a working climate as to who will give the grounds and when and which particular ground. I think the challenge will have to be put directly to the membership and to the member leagues and so forth as to how we organize this. My personal preference at this time is one one program, national program in which uh, in which women clubs directly enroll their teams and their players. And the program, the women cricket, is run by a development officer from Cricket Canada throughout the country. A schedule is so that a schedule is based on the registration and numbers, and then Cricket Canada directly deals with the membership and the leagues and requests the infrastructure to host those games and to promote the women cricket. This way we'll have a central control, and we will there will be less opportunities uh, for to frustrate women cricketers that frustrate women cricketers in getting infrastructure and so forth. But this is just a preliminary thought. In the end, the members and the member leagues may suggest some better ways to do it, but steps has been taken. This is all what I would want to say at this moment.
Yeah. No, no, thank you very much. I did remember that you said we are going to have a separate program or thing, but I respect all my female cricketers because I have a lot of respect for them because they have so many different duties in their life, but they still want to play cricket. They take time out to play cricket, and they're the one who've been today's. I think more than 80% of the comments are from female cricketers, even though I know it was not part, but I was. Not forced, but I really wanted to ask this question because they keep asking the question, but and they totally have the rights to ask questions, so we can
No,
discuss
I
with them.
mean they do, they do, and then I mean they're like they're dealing with someone who's actually done something for women cricket. Like in 2018, it was the first time ever we have a national championship for women,
Yes.
right? Like and so we it's a personal challenge for me that we have a vibrant female women cricket program in this country. It's important.
No, in the last three programs, including today's, it seems like the women are more interested in their program than the men because men is asking a very few questions, and but the women are. So for all my female, if I can see the names, that are Samar is one, Sonali, um, like all your questions, we tried to ask, and Mr. Saini was, he gave you answers and he put a plan forward. So hopefully we'll just wait for that to come through, and we'll definitely do a program on women cricket for
You see,
for
they need to understand this. That I'm like, sure I lead an organization, but I don't really own it. And then so there are the organization has to buy into the idea as to how this program will be delivered, and it's not my personal preferences. So, there are members, there are board, there are members, and there are leagues, and they're all there's a structure in place which has to buy into the idea. I'm sure everybody wants to support it, but no, and they will do, but everybody wants to be convinced that what we do is not going to fall apart again, because this group doesn't like that group and that group doesn't like that group, and there's just so many potential. You see fault lines within the women cricket that like I'm supporting an idea that in the beginning for a few years, Cricket Canada's development wing and development officer who should have a charge of this, and so that we can run the program without politics and without interference of you know people and organizations and personal interest groups that that like this and don't like that and don't like that. And so if we can come up with a program which the organization wants to support, and then I think women should be able to participate in this program.
Yeah. So today, like we're doing excellent on a time management. We still have about 10 to 11 minutes, and we have I have one more question. But there's like some question comments in the beginning. Okay, so I'm just gonna throw them on the screen, and I just want like a very one-liner answer. This is more of a suggestion than question from Obad. So like it's an idea to host the U.S. team during GT20 happening a three-match series, because it looks like there is USA Canada is very heated contest. So this is one of the. Do you have any input on that? Just personal, doesn't have to be anything official.
We're going to need we will need we need to prioritize what we wanting to do. I think the first component of uh, this puzzle is assessing our team for current and needs, is short-term needs in terms of skills and the roles that need replacing or enhancement or need special training. So supporting the national team. So if that means we need to send three or two or five or X number of players for high performance academy tours and training, and because they don't have sufficient experience, I think that will take priority over anything else. Because putting together a team that will perform for next few years is will be priority number one. On the second portion, I think we also need to create support infrastructure and a competition within our local uh, in our local and grassroots level, so that our players begin to play in an environment that is conducive and supporting our play at a high level.
Is it any bilateral series between USA and Canada? Is it do we have any kind of agreement or no? Or
No, we usually play Audi Cup, and we used to play, and that was one day, and it would then the team would come, and they will also play, some T20 matches, either whether it was a cricket fest or so forth.
yeah.
But right now, I think Cricket Canada simply needs to sit on its table and give the importance see how and best we can utilize our available resources to gain the maximum benefit out of it. Definitely, we need to play Cricket Canada T20 teams need to play with better teams, people that are ahead of us in global standings. So, which means playing with Ireland, playing with Scotland, Namibia, and so forth. Those are high priority because those are high priority matches. Because unless you start winning against better team, you do not go up high enough in the T20I rankings.
Yeah.
I would say yes, we could possibly do a series with the USA if the time comes, as long as we have one other team, um, in the tournament, which is in the rankings is higher than us.
So I'm just going to bring you to the last question of today's topic. Is like, so how hopeful are you that we will, and what is your path? You'll explain, and how can we can go and make advancement in cricket world. And the first target is this our first target to get a ODI status, or how hopeful are you, and how soon you think this can happen?
Well, Farooq, I would say I would say the same thing as started from. I think we are there already. What we need is we need to make efforts to create an environment in which we focus on fitness, we focus on accuracy and consistency. Those are the three things to focus on, and the rest will fall in place. I don't think as far as the team performance is concerned. As far as Canadian cricket is concerned, I think it's going to take between 2 to 3 or 4 years to bring it into a proper order with the current level of resources. A lot people should offer as to what they can do instead of, I mean, yes, criticism has its own place, and it's welcome. Otherwise, uh, it keeps you on your toes. Then you keep thinking, and when criticism happens, but I would say, that the team performance can be fixed reasonably well in a very small time. However, um, fixing, developing a cricket nation so that we have good amount of bench strength, it's going to take a few years, about 3 to 4 years, in which we should have our first class league during summer, in which Marines play a long version of cricket that will help creating consistency and the sense of playing proper cricket. One thing we missed out here was that between Namibia and ODI series qualification and the World Cup qualification of G20, it came pretty clear, especially in Dubai, in the UAE in the recent T20 tournament, that players that had very sound cricketing skills were able to perform. These cricket grounds were big, large, and ball didn't rise as much as and the players like.
Mhm.
So, but the players, such as Nitesh and Javardhane, Saad, Navi, people, those who had a very higher level of cricketing skills in their knowledge, were able to perform. So, focusing on accuracy, consistency, and fitness is going to be the key going forward. And once that is achieved, I don't think anybody can stop Canada from becoming, excellent again.
Okay. So the one thing is from my side, like from media side, one department which was lacking on 2019, and it's a good start for 2020, is the relationship of Cricket Canada with the media, right? So already started the end of the 2019. You start doing a program with us, with the platform. Um, 2009 under 19 World Cup official hand ceremony. We did live coverage of that. That's a very good initiative. I got a lot of positive feedback. That Cricket Canada is uh, trying to put. They're doing a lot of things, but they're putting it into the media or bringing it in front of the world. So I want to thank you for that. And also, I'm not gonna go in the back like why, what happened, and why we didn't do anything like that. So this is something which is a positive, very positive feedback I got from people, that at least Cricket Canada is coming forward and putting their own point of view in front of everybody. Um, you don't have to please everyone, and whatever the fact is, this is what people are really care about.
I mean, people need to know this.
Yes.
No
So
one is saying, no one is claiming, and is It's totally impossible uh, to make everyone happy, to be always right, because you get judged by the performance. You don't get judged what goes into putting things together. And sometimes you may have done something which you should not have done. And but I want everybody to know, no one comes to Cricket Canada, my board members or the coaches or the employees that we are. Nobody gets up in the morning and says, while we are sipping our morning tea or having breakfast, well, let me go and do something wrong today.
Yeah.
No, no one does that. We go through our own emotions. We suffer the pain of the losses. We are as upset as everybody else when things go wrong. But at the end of the day, we taken this role, this responsibility voluntarily. Our board, Cricket Canada board, works tirelessly to put these teams in the ground, to put these players into the plane, to receive them back when they come after these competitions. That is the duty of the board, and this is what the board does. And we create training opportunities for them. The selectors do their selections and so forth. But at the end of the day, let's don't forget one thing: the other teams don't come to these tournaments to lose against Cricket Canada.
Yeah.
It's a competition, and based on what we have, what we don't have, you know, there's an outcome. But the sincerity of the effort is 100%. No one is engaged in this endeavor, in this effort, uh, to not perform. We all are engaged to perform.
Yeah. So, well, one thing I really liked about at the airport when the send off for the under 19 team, the sponsor, they made some really nice announcements for the good
Yes.
initiatives for the players who can do, the 50 runs, 100 runs, man of the match and man of the series, and so it's a very good initiative, and it's on record, and you can see it. It's on our channel and YouTube, so it's not just something that somebody.
Farooq, this year we're going to have many more sponsorships because
That
Global T20 and it has created a lot of exposure for cricket in this country. There are interested parties that want to help Cricket Canada get sponsorships. I think this area is going to grow. There are more eyes on Canadian cricket now, and I think good days are coming.
yeah. Yep. So thank you very much. Just for the recap of today's episode that we did have, I think we had overall good year. Yeah, we had like couple of very heartbroken events, which is kind of put us back a little bit, maybe 6 months, 1 year. But every failure gives you a new hope and new enthusiasm to go forward. With that, I just would like to thank Mr. Saini once on briefing us on all the good question and answer. And the second one, keep track on the time. We did pretty good today. We,
Yes.
we planned for 1 hour, and we are wrapping up in 1 hour. And hopefully, we will be more streamlined. And
Well, I received plenty of advice to keep your answers short, Ranjit.
that's okay. That's okay. It's
I'm learning.
we all learning together, and we will we'll keep track those things. And once again, I want to thank you all our viewers and the people who made comments. If we missed anybody's comment or question, it could be either it's not appropriate for this platform or was not related to today's topic. I think I hope that we have covered pretty much. If not, women cricket, I know it's a big issue. We all respect our women cricketers, and we will bring that up in one big episode, and hopefully we will, with the permission of Cricket Canada, will include other people in there too, and it's
We'll,
like
we'll,
that.
we'll keep working on it.
We keep working on that, and that's our
Yeah,
motto. So with
we'll
that,
keep working on
you
it.
know uh, have a great week and time for from Sports Trend and from Cricket Canada. Thank you very much. We'll see you soon next time.
Bye bye.
Bye.